Yeah, I know I said no more bedtime stories, but this is different. An Evening with Neil deGrasse Tyson. I'm still drinking it in. I sat there, pins and needles racking my body. I've never felt anything so electrifying in my life, save when I am at a concert with ethereal music. Neil walks out on stage and begins the presentation in a very laid back manner. He states it is entitled An Astrophysicist Goes to the Movies. Oh, yes, I knew I was going to love this, about my even though it wasn't about my second favorite subject in the world, the realm of theater/film. He began to speak of different movies featuring astrophysicists and the fact that beer commercials use these scientists as well. He made fun of biologists and quite the jab at geologists. Being a little bit of a rock hound, I wasn't offended. In fact, I found it very telling and altogether true. Ew, this rock isn't shiny enough. It's not feldspar. I don't want it. Geologists, you know this to be too accurate. As for biology, that's my main field, but what he said about physicists was absolutely comical. He said, "We call things what they are. That's just how we roll." It was ugh, it was delightful to see just how nimble he was on stage. Never in my life did I get to think I'd see my idol wiggling around trying to explain surface tension. It's a sight I will never ever forget. He spoke of the Drake equation and Einstein's field theory. He talked about my favorite thing, fractals! He mentioned that Elsa sings about them in Frozen. That's right, a Disney princess sang about fractals. OMG! Neil is very earthy for an astrophysicist. He's very engaging and hilarious and even made up for the technological difficulties when the audio wouldn't sync with his video and his presentations. I don't think I will ever get the imagery of fracto DOG out of my mind. Talk about trippy. My own question and mine was more engineering based, but he nearly answered it. Before he could get into another one of my favorite topics, evolution, he spoke of thermodynamics. So in order for something to have energy, it needs to take in more than it emits. So a perpetual motion, let's see if I can find where I am. A perpetual motion device is next to impossible. Wanting to capitalize on a plasma engine, I could see this would create a problem as well. Yet, it still begs the question, with all the refuse we have on this planet, we would be constantly feeding our engines, and I think this would be practical. I don't really have a design for the plasma engine, but I do think that it could change lives. I may not ever see it come to pass, but I want the idea to get into the right hands. So if there are any engineers reading this blog, please do not hesitate to credit me in the finding and discovery of this potential energy. If not, we can always revert to Tesla's AC method. Stupid Edison, no offense, taking all the credit. I like Edison as much as the next guy, but he usurped Nikola's idea and used it for himself. But enough of that rant. Back to Mr. Tyson. I am happy he mentioned Carl and what inspired such movies as Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Contact, and War of the Worlds. Oh, and by the way, my favorite film, Independence Day, is just War of the Worlds rehashed. My favorite part of the evening is when he spoke about how much Thor's hammer weighed. He stated that Mjolnir weighed 3.57 quadrillion pounds, or the equivalent of 300 African elephants. I prefer that definition over versus Marvel's and the materialist scientist Suvin Mathathu. As far as his challenge to number phobes, I found it reassuring that I am overcoming my fear. I used to be afraid of numbers. I'm still not that great when it comes to math, but I don't let that chase me off. Heck, I would have shied away from symmetry years ago, but I find it so enrapturing I can't look away. I could have listened to him all night, and not only that, I will never forget him saying bologna sandwich, as well as saying that Hollywood's development of aliens with humanoid features, i.e. legs, hands, feet, and of course a butt, is unrealistic and uncreative. He said, "It's awfully hubristic of us to think aliens in other worlds would have butts, much less the ability to sit. What a cosmic evening." Live long, prosper. Ciao tutti!